We are Grimm Artisanal Ales. The company is just Lauren and me.
We're a gypsy brewery, and we make limited edition batches of beer, a couple of different beers every month. Right now, we're at our apartment in Gowanus, Brooklyn, where we brew all of our pilot batches.
We're doing some recipe development, basically, for saison that'd be nice and hoppy.
On a semi-regular basis, we're making pilot batches here and scaling them up and going to commercial breweries to make a commercial batch.
It's hard to find spaces for us to brew on the regular because we are gypsy brewers. We're just trying to scoot into like an empty space on the schedule of people who are friends who have a brewery. Really enjoy working with New York water that's almost distilled, and
It's super soft.
it has like 0 parts per million almost of calcium and sulfate chloride, and so you can kind of build the mineral profile of the water by adding salts. In this particular one, we're using a whole bunch of gypsum. When we add as much gypsum as we are for this beer, it tends to add a little bit of crispness, and I don't really know how to describe it, but it makes the bitterness of the hops taste different and better.
Years ago, we started fermenting a lot of different beverages and making sauerkraut and kimchi as well.
A lot of our earliest alcohol projects, they were almost like prison hooch. It would just be different kinds of, fruit or honey, then we would ferment them and make booze out of them. Some of it was terrible, and some of it turned out to be really, really good.
3 or 4 years ago, when we started graduate school for art, we were working on our own projects, and our friends would say, hey, you have all of this beer, why don't you bring it to our art show or opening or performance and set up a table? So we started doing that. It took 2 years for us to go from, hey, we've got this idea, let's start a brewery, to actually releasing our first beer.
We knew that the only way we could get going was to do a gypsy brewing operation. And it's hard when you're really new to convince anybody to let you come in and make beer. Lots of these breweries are not necessarily going to take you seriously if you don't have a track record. So the first place we brewed was pretty janky in a way, but we were able to go there, and I think we made good beer.
Yeah, totally.
And it just, sort of blossomed from there.
There's a lot of imagery that goes along with each batch of beer that we make, and it was all extremely well received.
I feel like there's a couple things that are similar about our background in art to our present in beer, and a couple things that are different. And one of the things that's similar is that drive towards making something new, making something that speaks to us in what we think is relevant in the larger landscape of that field, and just challenging ourselves to more finely tune our craft. Some of the things that are different, the best thing that's different between art and beer is that you can have
That beer is not art.
Yeah, it's the best thing about it is that beer isn't art, right? You can paint a beautiful painting, but it's a terrible painting, right? And that quandary of a particular mode of critique in art can sometimes feel a little stultifying. If you just want to make something that is really delicious, and that's a simple decision, There's such a thing as a great painting that's ugly, but there's no such thing as a great beer that tastes terrible. And so it's clear cut in a way it's freeing
Yeah.
Because you know when you taste it and it's just like, damn, I need another one, you know that you made a good one, you know?
Totally.
And that's not a feeling that I was feeling
Yeah.
recently anyway with music or art, you know? And like if I was working on something and it sounded really beautiful, oftentimes I would just feel really frustrated. I think this is crap. And with beer, it's lower stakes. If it tastes beautiful, it is what it is.
Different stakes, not lower stakes.